Well, joining us for the entertainment panel is Abby St. John. Abby, the Emmy nominations are finally out for people to kind of, critique them and see what's the big fuss about this time around. One of the big highlights, though, for the Emmys this year is that WandaVision picked up 23 nominations, which is just part of Disney Plus's elaborate list of nominations. Netflix, of course, leads the way with the most nominations by a streaming service for this year's Emmys. So take us through some of those nominations that stood out to you.
Yes, like you said, a ton of noms for WandaVision, including Outstanding Limited or Anthology Series. Paul Bettany was nominated for Outstanding Actor. Elizabeth Olsen was Outstanding Actress. Catherine Hahn, Outstanding Supporting Actress, all in the Limited or Anthology Series categories. Also, Outstanding Directing by Matt Shackman, and Outstanding Writing, Casting, and Fantasy Sci-Fi Costuming, all for WandaVision, which is absolutely incredible. The Falcon Winter Soldier got one nomination with Don Cheadle. He is nominated for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Limited or Anthology Series. And another thing that stood out to me as well, not about Marvel, was Hamilton got some noms as well. It was released on Disney Plus, and it has received a ton of recognition since it's been released, including Outstanding Supporting Actor with Anthony Ramos, Daveed Diggs, and Jonathan Groff. Thomas Kail, Outstanding Directing in a Limited or Anthology Series as well. Another thing, like you mentioned about the streaming services and Disney having a ton of nominations, Walt Disney Company as a whole has received 146 noms, and that's across ABC, Disney Plus, Freeform, FX, Hulu, and National Geographic. So they are coming away with a ton of nominations for their programming and their shows and their actors and their directing and costumes and all of the above. And another notable fact that I thought was super interesting, MJ Rodriguez, who stars in Pose as Blanca Rodriguez Evangelista. She's the first trans woman to receive a nomination in the leading actress category and the third in acting categories in general. So I think that's a really huge deal for her, and for the trans community as a whole. So I'm very excited for this year's Emmys. There's a ton of shows that have received a ton of nominations, including Ted Lasso as well. A ton of noms for Saturday Night Live, just to throw in some of that mix. So it's going to be a good year for this award show.
And with Saturday Night Live, with Kenan Thompson and lots of great guest actors being nominated, like Maya Rudolph, Kristen Wiig, Daniel Kaluuya, Dan Levy as well, and then Dave Chappelle, and then Bowen Yang, of course, which I found really interesting. He was the first featured player to be nominated for that category as well, so that's good on him as well. And of course, Abby, with the Golden Globes, I know we talked about the Golden Globes on the panel before, and there were obviously some frontrunners that in some categories obviously are translate over into the Emmys. We know there's some favorites like Ted Lasso could be a big contender there. The Queen's Gambit for the limited series with Anya Taylor-Joy also potentially being another big name as well, and well as Josh O'Connor for The Crown. So how much do you think that these Golden Globe wins are going to translate into Emmy wins for some of these actors who are double nominated?
I think we see it a lot of the times with these different award shows, a lot of overlay, a lot of overlapping. I wouldn't be surprised if the Queen's Gambit won what they're categorized in. It was a huge show when it first dropped, and it's still, creating that kind of buzz. Bridgerton is also another one that got quite a bit of noms that we could see a lot of that. The Crown is also another one that we could see a lot of those overlays. So it's not surprising when the Golden Globes winners come over into the Emmys, and vice versa and stuff with award shows. There's a lot of those overlapping wins. So definitely wouldn't be surprising if we did see some of those repeats. It would be nice to see the different shows win those awards, but I definitely would not be shocked if we see those overlaying from the Globes.
And one thing too, I just before we kind of wrap things up here, there's some rarely standouts to me as well. I'm surprised that see Kaylee Cuoco's name on that list for best leading actress in a comedy. She was on Big Bang for so long, and it was Mayim Bialik who got all the attention for Amy Farrah Fowler. So it's great to see her. Aidy Bryant also getting a nod for Shrill as well, and as well as Allison Janney as they wrap up their final season of Mom, this is her 4th nomination for that sitcom, and it's just a really great way for her to hopefully if she can cap off with an Emmy win. And Abby, just before we wrap things up here, who is one of your dark horse picks or sleeper picks if you had to pick one?
I would honestly say Allison Janney, as you just mentioned from Mom. She's one of my favorite actresses, and it's nice that she's still getting recognition from the show because it's absolutely hilarious. It is such a good comedy and such a good sitcom to watch. So definitely her, I would definitely say, is kind of my front runner if you would about for that category. I think she's done an excellent job on that show, and she definitely deserves the recognition.
And I guess we'll see what happens when all these winners are announced on September 19th. Abby St. John, thanks so much.
Thank you.